Hello, this is Wendy Anderson, and I have completed my observation of a pre-AP English 2 teacher by the initials of HH, and I will take this time to reflect on that observation. To begin with, a description of the activities. The teacher began with her we will, I will, and her we will statement since we are a Fundamental 5 district. So her we will statement was analyze text for a variety of components, and the I will was to write in a variety of voices. And so her students began by working in their Springboard curriculum workbooks, and they were able to write in 3 different voices. And after they wrote in those 3 voices, they then analyzed the voices for syntax and diction. And then that was their work period. And then towards the end of the class, the teacher allowed them to share one of those voices with the class, so they all had an opportunity to kind of listen to each other. During the class, a couple of interesting things happened. The teacher's phone rang, and I was sitting at her desk less than a foot away from the phone. And so I decided to go ahead and answer that for her. And I really felt that, and as an administrator, that was something that should be done or could be done, just because it kind of helped her be able to continue with her lesson. It was an administrator calling, so I knew exactly who it was who was calling. And so hopefully that helped my teacher be able to continue with her lesson. So she closed out her lesson with the sharing of the students. And so she had her opening, her work period, and her closing. Her opening was kind of a refresher of how voice is influenced and a refresher on syntax. While I was observing her, I had lots of different feelings. I started out the observation really truly just paying attention to her because I'm a fellow English teacher and she's a fantastic teacher. And so I really was just paying attention and thinking, oh my gosh, this would be amazing stuff to use in class. And it took a couple of minutes for it to click that those were not the necessary things that I would be looking for, but that I would need to be looking for some other very specific things. And so I kind of switched into that administration mode. It was very strange to look at things from that perspective, to be looking for her strengths and her weaknesses, to be looking for her differentiated instruction, versus just looking at how she taught and what she taught. So that was a very strange feeling at first, but it was also very empowering because as I was watching her, I could see those things that she did really well, and it really forced me to look for the things that she could improve upon, which was, for me, very interesting because I think that we very oftentimes forget that we're under a microscope. Our students do this every day for us. And so just because an administrator walks in the room doesn't mean that suddenly you're being observed, because as a teacher you're observed all the time. And so that was a very empowering feeling, looking at it from the other perspective, because I've never done that before. So that was very, very empowering. I also really enjoyed the lesson, and so I laughed a lot with her students. These happened to be the students that I taught last year, and so I was very familiar with them, which I think really helped because they enjoyed seeing me sitting there. They wanted to ask lots of questions. But the lesson was so great and they enjoyed it so much that I felt that it was really fun just to laugh along with them in those funny and interesting parts of the class. The evaluation of what happened and my evaluation of her, I felt some things that were really good, is that I really truly enjoyed the lesson. I think she did a great job of framing that lesson with the opening and the closing, and she really did a great job of taking the time to explain the process without insulting her students to the point where they felt like, does she think I'm dumb? So I really thoroughly enjoyed the lesson. She did a really great job of monitoring her students' progress. Anytime she had problems, she went directly to the student and very quickly and quietly addressed it. And so she did a really, really great job of that. I was also able to notice some of those things that she could improve upon. Some of her students spent some time on electronic devices when they really shouldn't have been, and she wasn't really quite able to catch those moments. And so I think that it was great as the evaluation part of it to be able to catch those things, because as a teacher sometimes we get so sidetracked by helping our students that we kind of miss the big picture behind us. I really thought as an administrator how great it must feel to come into a classroom and see just how great your teacher really is. And I sat there almost with pride, thinking if I were an assistant principal or a building principal or a district administrator, sitting there watching this teacher using all of our initiatives and doing it seamlessly, she certainly was not putting on a show for me. And so I thought, man, that must feel really, really great as an administrator to be able to witness that. I also thought that it was great because I was able to learn something. It's my content area, and she talked about some things that I've never talked about in class. So I really was able to walk away learning something new, which I thought was really, really, really great. Some things that didn't go so great during my observation of her is I think it's a struggle as a teacher, a daily teacher right now, wanting to take a step back from the teacher mode and be administrator, because the entire time I wanted to participate in the discussion. I caught myself wanting to respond to her questions, wanting to tell the students to pay attention or to put their phones away. And so I think that that's something that's just going to have to come with practice. I don't think as an administrator that you should ever feel like you're not part of the learning community, but I do think that it is going to be a transition from teacher to administrator, and that's something that I caught myself on quite a few times during this observation today. Analysis-wise, I think that this observation process, actually sitting down and watching your teachers, is great and a great benefit, not just for administrators, but for teachers alike. I think from an administrator perspective, I would want the teachers on my campus to be doing this in all disciplines. Just really allowing teachers to go and observe other teachers in their same subject area, because maybe they are teaching something differently and it could benefit you, or maybe they're teaching something differently and you need to conference about that and make sure that you get on the same page. And also seeing other disciplines. I really think taking the time to do this observation showed me that when I'm an administrator, I want to encourage this type of community amongst our teachers, of allowing them.
Attention, teachers
I
and
apologize,
students.
an announcement is
At
coming on
this
right now,
time, we need
because we're about to head
only
down
the
for our
drill team
homecoming
and the
pep rally.
cheerleaders to be
But
released.
um,
Only drill team
so I
and
thought that was really
cheerleaders at
great. And
this
I
time
think
to
as
be
an
released.
administrator, before you go into these observations, you really have to take the time to be familiar with the curriculum, to truly understand if that teacher is utilizing the district initiatives the correct way and utilizing that differentiation of instruction. If you're not familiar with the curriculum, and I don't think that you have to be so familiar that you know every aspect of it. There's absolutely no way I'm going to know every aspect of physics or chemistry or any of those subject areas I'm not familiar with. But I think it's important to take the time to understand just a little bit before you go in there, because they may be doing an activity that you are clueless about, and then you don't know if they should be using those initiatives in that time or not. For example, if this teacher was taking the time to allow her students to do a timed writing, I'm not going to see some of the things that are district initiatives during that time. There shouldn't be small group purposeful talk during a timed writing. And so I think if I was unfamiliar with the English curriculum, that's something I would need to know as an administrator before going in. My conclusion, I think that I could have done a better job of getting my thoughts down on paper had I walked in with the actual observation sheet that our district uses in a walkthrough or in an observation. I think I could have organize my thoughts a little better as far as that goes. And so I think next time I do an observation, I will have that sheet in hand when I come in so that I can see exactly what I need to be looking for. From here, I absolutely want to take the time to follow up with that teacher and let her know just how great of a job she really did, and let her know those couple of little things that could be improved upon. But I think I really want to take the time to follow up with her, and I think that's something that I really realized from an administrator's perspective. I'm sure an administrator does these observations all day long, all the time, and so it might be difficult to one-on-one follow up with that teacher. But I think it's incredibly important, because I know that my teacher is going to absolutely love hearing how great of a job she did. And so many times as teachers we feel like our job is thankless. And so moving into that administrator role, I really, really want to be sure that my teachers understand just how much I appreciate how great of a job they're really doing. I loved this observation. I really look forward to doing this more. I think that the next time I get to observe a teacher, I think it's going to be more in a district setting, in a campus setting, and so I look forward to being able to do that. And this was really a wonderful learning opportunity. Thank you again, Wendy Anderson. Thank you.